lights and the lamps, our time's gonna come around. The red sun is going down. There's a sting on the gasp on the breath now. There's a mark on the wrist of a bound. Raw rings in the cycle of death, our time's gonna come around. The red sun is going down. And there's a price to pay for all that we have done. Turn my eyes away and watch the setting sun. Full of holes. I'm bleeding out my spirit, breathing out my soul. Now loyalty's a pistol. My heart is full of hope. I'm bleeding out my spirit, breathing out my soul. Our days are almost over. Times of change around these parts. There ain't no more cowboys, only men with violent hearts. Turn my eyes away and watch the setting sun. Mercy on a firing field, fostered in the honor of the oldest codes. Paint in the stains, out across the centuries, blood up on the banners where the waters flow. Blaze, spark, grounded and grow. Strain, start, flows in the old for I am rebirth. I am the tear in the tide. Wake me when I die again. I am rebirth. Cycle of spirit denied. Get back up and try again.
Good morning, friends, and welcome! Welcome to a lovely Monday morning painting stream. Hi, I'm Andrew, also known as Thanatos here in the internet, and this is my painting stream where every day I try to, well, many days, not every day, but sometimes I go online and I try to paint some minis and improve my painting technique. I have been working on the minis from Marvel Crisis Protocol. See Cap there all out of focus. And I'm making some progress in that I only have one mini that does not have paint on it. There's a lot of terrain. So I've got like the Daily Bugle office to build and street lamps and that sort of thing. A couple of cars. But in terms of figures, the only one I have not painted is Ultron here. I spent some time on Saturday constructing him and finally have him ready to go. And I bought myself a new toy for the purpose of painting Ultron. Hopefully I can get this to work properly. I hope I'm not messing things up. But this, if you can see here, this is a wet palette from Army Painter. Now, if you've been in our chat before, you may have seen longtime viewer Novocaine for the Souls talking about using a wet palette. They have a home-built wet palette, and I could easily have done that. Basically, take some paper towels and you soak them, put them in a Tupperware container, and then put wax paper over top of that, and that works as a wet palette. I decided to buy the Army Painter one. If I'm going to experiment, I might as well experiment with an official product. So the theory, as I understand it, to the wet palette is you have this sheet of foam at the bottom of a little tray, and it's kind of wet. I soaked it. Hopefully it's not too wet. I think it is just wet enough. So the water is sort of level with the top of the foam. And the foam fills with water, and then you take a sheet of wax paper. They provide you with a whole bunch here. Oh, you can't hear me. I think it may be on your end. It looks like sound is working from my end. Here, hang on a sec. I can quickly check it on my phone. Yep, there is indeed sound. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So, wax paper. They provide you with a whole bunch of sheets here. I'm really amused by the branding that Army Painter has used. The foam in the tray is hydro foam, and the wax paper sheets, of which you can buy refill packs, are, I don't know, aqua sheets or some stuff like that. Actually, I have the instructions around here somewhere. Where did I put them? Oh, I've lost them already. I'm so bad, chat. My workspace is such a mess. I don't know what I did with the instructions. Anyhow, you take your wax paper sheet and let's go to Zoom Cam. Okay, happy lurking. Put your wax paper sheet over the foam and sort of push away any bubbles. Did I get more than one sheet? I did. Okay, that's fine. There. So now the theory is, because this is a slightly damp surface, you can use it to A, keep your paint from drying quite so quickly, and B, add some water. I might not have put enough water in my pad. I don't know if this is, it's not terribly damp. It's slightly damp. We'll see. We'll see how it works. So what I want to be able to try and do today is we're going to try and do some blending, because we're going to be painting Ultron here. And this could be a very easy figure to paint. You could do this figure in a day very quickly just by painting him almost entirely with silver paint. Here is the card that I'm using as reference. There you can see he's got some red bits showing through, and then just a whole lot of silver. Oh, there's the instructions. They were right under the card. Okay, according to this wet palette, it is a hydro sheet on top of the hydro foam. Anywho, we'll see if this works. I'm not completely sold on this. I don't know how it's supposed to feel. Like, is it supposed to be actively damp, or is it supposed to be just sort of moist? I don't know. I'm going to start with some bright red. Basically, I'm gonna be working on this figure exclusively all week. So, that being the case, I'm gonna take my time on it, and I want to sort of do the best that I am capable of doing. So we're going to start with this leg here. And we'll see what I'm capable of doing with that. I keep seeing my Captain America figure out of the corner of my eye, and I'm really proud of that shield. That shield came out so good. The rest of the figure is okay, but that shield came out exactly the way I wanted it to come out. I'm sure over time with practice I can get it even better. Let's get out a little bit of red paint here. So one of the things that the wet palette is supposed to do is smooth the paint. So you can pull a little paint out from the side and it mixes with the water, so the paint is not gloppy or thick. That's nice. So let's see. I'm going to paint some red into the areas that are deeply recessed here. We'll be painting around this, so it doesn't matter if I'm super sloppy. And we'll be adding some more highlighting to give it a more glowy effect. The paint is certainly smooth. Doesn't feel thick and gloppy, which is nice. So my hope is, and we're going to experiment with this today, that I can use the wet palette to do some blending. Because I haven't done very effective blending lately. We'll see what happens. This is certainly evidence of how little paint you actually require to do this sort of thing. Like I have just barely pulled a little bit of paint out of the center of the mass there. Being very sloppy here, but that's okay because a lot of this is going to be covered up. And I kind of want to do so the model has this sharp line down the sides of the leg. Kind of want to highlight that. In the process of assembling the model, some glue got into this space here, and I tried to clean it up with a hobby knife, but it's still slightly messy here. So this is a case where I'm going to have to attempt to fix it with paint. Like, I want this to be a nice sharp line and not a messy sort of, especially right here. This right here was where the model was joined to the sprue. This leg portion, his thigh, came in 3 pieces. So there's this inner piece here, and then there's the top and bottom half. So it's a challenge to construct. Okay. So there we've gotten the areas that I want to be red. Now in his groinotological area here, he's got these sort of cables. Try and highlight those. And my notion is to do them in a dark gray and then try and put a hashed on texture on them. I don't know if that'll work. We'll find out. Let's get less paint, because the palette is definitely helping with that. No, paint is being stubborn. Come on. Ugh. Do I have a pin? I don't have a pin available to me, do I? I should really have like a hat pin or something handy up desk. There we go. Yeah. So that came out quite thick and gloppy, which is fine. Hopefully the wet palette helps with this. Take some of that thick gloppy paint and thin it with the palette. I think this is working. So we're going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come in on these and try and do like a hatched mark texturing to them. I don't know if I can do that at this scale, but that's the challenge. That's what I want to try and do. Now let's think about the leg itself. My goal is, my ultimate goal is to give it a sheen, do a non-metallic metal effect on it. So I'm thinking about how the light is going to interact with it to give it that look. And then we're going to do some blending. And time permitting, we may try to do a subtle sky blue to try and give it some pop. So let's think about this. I think I'm going to start by painting the whole leg just a very dull gray. So I'm going to use this same dull gray that I've used for the cables in his thigh. We'll see if this works. The palette is definitely helping to keep the paint thin. Keep it from drying and getting gloppy and thick, which is something that I have had issues with paint in the past. So that's good. Already, my new toy is helping. I'm going to want to keep these lines. He's got lines sculpted into his thigh there. So I'm going to want to subtly highlight those. Brush. I don't know. Well, you can probably see this brush is splaying, which is not great. This is what I was talking about with the lines on the leg here, where I'm going to have to use the paint to make it straighter. We'll probably add like some dry brushing to make this look like there's a glow here. So we're going to be doing some blending to get the non-metallic metal look. We're going to do some glazing, like I said, to give it a sort of sky blue effect on the top, as if it is reflecting a bright summer sky. See if we can get that to work. This brush. I keep saying I'm going to get myself new brushes and I keep not doing it. Here. This is a blemish that I want to obscure. Right there. Okay. This brush is not going to do the job. This is so bad. It may just have some paints wedged in it. Sometimes if you can get the wedged in paint out, the rest of the brush will come back to order, but his brush is gone, I think. Let's see. Nope, that brush is gone too. That feeling when you never throw away dead brushes. This brush is just busted. Huh. Frustrating. I think I need to purge my brush collection at some point. Let's try this one. That's better. Okay. So we're going to paint the rest of this leg in this dull gray. And then we're going to start trying to do some blending. Make it less boring. One thing this palette may do for me is help me preserve my paints. That is to say, use less paint, because I took a very, very small bead of paint from the bottle for this, and I've used barely any of it. Almost to the time when I'm going to be doing some blending. So my goal, as I said, or I don't know if I mentioned it today, but my goal is to complete this mini this week. So I'm dedicating a lot of extra time to Ultron to try and do as elaborate and detailed a paint job as I can. It's largely going to be invisible. Like, this is a lot of effort for very little result, but it's mostly just to practice some non-metallic metal techniques, and of course to play with my new red palette. Well, almost done with this layer. Get the rest of his foot here. So the real trick with non-metallic metal, aside from just the difficulty of painting it onto the model, is figuring out where to put the highlights. And that has to be sort of based on what angle you want the model to be viewed from. Because the way light works, obviously, is that if you turn a actual metallic object, the light source changes. But if you're doing an artificial light source through playing with non-metallic metal, it's always going to have the same reflection on it, regardless of which way you turn the model. So you kind of have to pick your favorite angle for the model and paint as if the model's only going to be seen from that angle. Probably two angles, front and back. Now that we're done with the flat gray, it's time to decide where some of the highlights are going to go. And then we'll work on blending them in. I'm going to hash the highlights in with a light gray. We're using wolf gray here. Just to try and figure out where the highlights are going to go. Probably switch to a more delicate brush. Okay. So I want to keep these lines here. We're going to have a little line there, a little line here, just sort of making this up as I go along. I honestly have no idea where the highlights should be. Needs more this side. So this is what I was talking about about front and back. So I'm gonna have some highlights and shading on this side. And then if you turn the figure this way, it'll be as if there's another light source, more on this side. Okay. So that's a rough approximation of where some of the highlights should go. Now, we truly put the wet palette to test, because we're going to try and blend from here to here. So okay. So let's see if I can make this work. So we've got sort of our intermediary here. Still looks streaky. I think it's coming along. It's also a question of what color will the paint look when it dries? It looks a little lighter when it's wet. Getting sort of a gradation there. What I'm not getting, and what I was getting when I was working on Baron Zemo's shield the other day, or his sword the other day, is I'm not getting a lot of clumps in the paint. So that's good. Good morning, Jen. How's it going? I'm working on trying to do some blending using my new wet palette. And I think it's coming out okay. So chat, now that I have a couple of you in chat today, I want to mention that I am going to be doing some stuff for Extra Life involving my painting stream. So I'm going to be putting some goals and such up on my Extra Life profile. So we need to think about what we can use as incentives. Like, I might put a couple of really big, high-priced incentives, like paint a full custom mini for like a $50 Extra Life donation. That sort of thing. That's too bright. It's okay. This is a delicate process that I am still learning, so. And I should have some form of, like, benchmarks. Like, if I hit a certain amount, I should do something cool. I don't know what to do with that yet.
It's been a long year. I know you're tired and you're blue. You've been breathing smoke inside this trial of fire, but you got through.
techniques of blending and wet brushing. Now chat, I don't know if this is working, but it's good practice. Another thing that I'm planning to do like I said earlier, is try and blend some sky blue in. Right now it just looks stripy, which is not what I was going for. Get out a darker gray just for more contrast. I don't know, chat. I don't know. Don't know if I have the hang of this. Definitely going to need to practice more. But that's fine. That's what this stream is all about. It's practicing, trying to get the hang of new techniques. And this is definitely a new to me technique. We'll keep trying. We'll keep working on it. Let's see what happens if I try to glaze in a very little bit of light blue. I'm going to use a dry brush for this. Sorry, Andrew, what I was saying with Extra Life is that I am trying to think of ways to add some Extra Life bonuses to my stream. So I need to think about incentives, for which I'm thinking about offering some custom painted minis. And that helps a little bit. And benchmarks. Next month, I'm going to be working on a new to me figure, a colossal, difficult project. I'm going to be doing Bellicor, the demon. And that is going to be the majority of what I'm going to be doing in October on stream. And that Bellicor is going to be available as a prize in the Battleground Extra Life raffle. Well, adding a bit of blue there helped. More interesting metallic sheen. I'm going to have to wrap up soon, chat. I need to make some form of lunch. So I'm going to go work on that. I think I'm beginning to get the hang of this, maybe. We'll obviously do some more work on this tomorrow. Slow progress, but progress. Hopefully tomorrow I can get another leg done. We're beginning to get something. I don't know. We'll keep working on it, chat. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, I'm going to say, if you have any ideas for incentives or benchmarks for my Extra Life fundraising, stick them in my Discord, because I would be happy to see them there. Oops. And, one other thing I can do with this wet palette. So I've got my palette, and it's got its colors on there, and it's kind of damp still. So what I can do is I can put a lid on it and strap it closed, and it should preserve those paints. So we'll see if that works. I think I'm supposed to put this in. Okay. Put this on. And then this on. And strap it closed. And hopefully that should preserve the paints because it's in a wet palette up to 48 hours, it says in the instructions. So, tomorrow I will be back with more Ultron. Basically, it's all Ultron this week. So I'm going to be working on him throughout the week. And once I'm done with him, it will be time, chat, to begin on Be'lakor. This monstrous thing is what you could own once I'm done painting it if you donate to Battleground Games' Extra Life. There are already a couple of incentives up on the Battleground Games Extra Life page, so check those out. And like I said, I'll have some incentives and personal goals that I'll be setting up over the next couple of weeks. So thank you so much for joining me. Have a pleasant afternoon, everybody. Be excellent to each other. I'm going to toss all these dead brushes and get myself some new brushes today. I promise. I'm going to get some new brushes at work. Be excellent to each other and enjoy whatever art it is you choose to do. Thanks for joining.